you're ready, Steve, we'll just, I'll open the meeting in just a minute. Thank you. Thank you, and welcome to this virtual meeting of the Mayor's Advisory Commissions on the Arts. Today's Thursday, February 11th, 2021. Our first order of business is a roll call, please. So if you would just signify your presence. Travis Austin.
Travis is not here, but Trent is. So.
Oh, how did I get Travis on here? I wrote
stunt double. It's a stunt double.
Thank you. And Byron Constance. Did I get your name right, Byron?
I believe Byron may be coming to the meeting just a little bit late. He'll probably may not be on yet, but he's playing 10.
All right. Then how about Nancy Eppert?
I'm here. I'm here.
And Katie Gall, I see your smiling face. Monica?
I'm here.
And Cindy McLean.
Here, I can turn off.
It's okay. Don't.
Cindy, is that you on the phone and you didn't hear me? No. Okay. I'm sure she's going to join us. Tom Meyer.
This is Tom.
Thank you. And Chelsea Templeton.
I'm here.
Thank you. And I'm Stacy Short. The city staff that's present, if you would identify yourselves.
Mark Randall, Assistant City Manager.
I turned my camera off. Oops.
Eric Herford, Director of Parks, Recreation, and Tourism.
Morris Heidi, Assistant Parks and Rec Director.
And thank you very much. So are there any guests that would like to be identified today? If not, we'll just go ahead. And I want to just say, first of all, thank you all for your donated service and on this committee and to this city and to this arts community here and for your attendance today. So our second order of business is the approval of our minutes from the January 14th meeting. May I have a motion to approve? Everybody have a moment to see those minutes?
Yeah, this is Katie. I move to approve.
And is there a second for that motion?
This is Chelsea. I'll second.
Is there any discussion for those minutes? Hearing none, I will, for the sake of this virtual gathering, I will just ask if there are any anyone who is opposed to passing these minutes. And hearing none, we will assume that we will announce that these minutes are unanimously approved. We'll move on to the second item today, or the third item today, which is the Truman and Trails Murals update. And I think Mark was probably the best person to lead us here.
Sure, I'd be happy to. This is very exciting information that we touched on at the last meeting, and I wanted to give you an update of where we're at right this moment. So, as you know, several months back, the Arts Commission was asked to spearhead efforts to get 2 murals commissioned that were going to go as part of the 24 Highway Bridge in front of the Truman Library. MoDOT was building the bridge, and the city was also participating in that construction. And part of the city's part was to put in murals at the city's expense underneath the bridge. One mural was to be was to commemorate Truman. The other one was to be about the trails. This commission went and appointed a selection committee, went through an awful lot of work doing a selection process with a call for artists, and you did all that and you selected an artist. Even had some preliminary sketches reviewed, and then just when you were about to commission the work, COVID happened, and the part of the budget, city budget for this was cut back, and so those murals, the mural project went on hold indefinitely. So we decided to look at another alternative on this, which was to apply for a facade grant through the Independent Square Tax Increment Financing District. The city is an eligible applicant for a facade grant, and these murals would be qualify for a facade improvement in per the TIP plan. So we did make that application, and I sent the commission a copy of that facade grant application program document, so you can see how that process worked. But one of the steps is to go to the Square Design Committee and get a recommendation from them. They did a recommendation, and they very much want to see these murals done. Now, going to this route, the murals would have to be located within the Square TIF district boundaries. A copy of those boundaries were in that packet that I sent you. So they can't be under they can't be associated with the 24 Highway Bridge any longer. They would have to be in the Square district. And actually, that was the Square Design Committee. Of course, they're thrilled because they love to see these murals on the square. Now, there are two ways that can be done. One is that they can be put on city-owned property, and the other one would be that they could go on private property if the city had a facade easement that would allow us access to maintain the murals on those properties. So we're going that route, or that route was what was recommended by the Square Design Committee. They actually are proposing, in the property owner's acquiescence, to have the Trails mural put on the side of Three Trails Brewery on the side, and right across from it at Ophelia's being the site for the Truman mural. So they'd be looking at each other at a very visible and high traffic area. And the Square Design Committee recommendation was that they be placed there rather than on other city property. So that if that is okay with this commission, then we would proceed with making that happen. The artist Dan Brewer has been consulted. He's thrilled about the change. And he says that he could be done with both murals by June. Of course, he has to take them one at a time, and so one of them would be done well in advance of that. There'd be a possibility, in fact, if he started on the Truman mural, that it could be done in time for basically a Truman week that is shaping up around May 8th, which is, as you know, Truman's birthday. That's going to be, during that week, there's going to be the Wild About Harry event, which is on the 6th, I think. The library is having a soft opening of the reinvented Truman Library, Presidential Library, is happening that week. And it might be that we could get the unveiling of the Truman mural as part of that event. It would also dovetail in with the basically groundbreaking of the work to restore the Truman Depot, the historic Truman Depot. So this could really shape up to be great. This could be part of that whole event if the artist got the Truman mural done in time. I did visit with Dr. Graham about, as you know, he was on the selection committee, and I did visit with him about the change in location, and he's happy to see it get the higher visibility location. One of the ideas that was talked about was, still tying it in to the Truman Library in some way. It wouldn't be right in front of the library anymore, as it would have been under the highway bridge, but we could still tie it in as part of that event. Also, there'd be a possibility, since we don't really have the Truman sketch 100% decided, there would be a couple of ideas that have been thrown out, which are our subcommittee could look at as they finalize the images for the mural. And one thought would be to include somewhere in there, perhaps some image of the Truman Depot, maybe an image of the Truman Library, maybe as a background thing with, maybe one of those famous whistle stop shots of Harry in front of the depot, or there's some great shots of Harry Truman in front of the library. Maybe some of those could be done and so the sketch could be tweaked. In any case, we need to, as I recall, when the committee stopped their work because of COVID, the trail mural was just about finalized. I think they pretty much picked out everything they wanted to do there. The Truman sketch was pretty close to being finalized, but maybe not quite. And so perhaps we could look at some of these ideas and try to see about incorporating some of these. I should say Trent's wife, matter of fact, a member of this commission, she is an archivist at the library and sent some fantastic photos that we could maybe take a look at about for consideration to change maybe that sketch. So so that's kind of the background. So really the action item that we'd like to get from the commission would be to approve these two pieces of public art to be located on those locations that I mentioned. And I may say that this is not just for this particular application. If you read through that Square Facade grant program, any public art that is done through that process will come to this commission for a recommendation. So it's not just for this one, but particularly this one, since you have such an ownership in this. It's really started off as your project, and so you're kind of involved in it in two different respects there. So the action item we'd like to see is if the commission would be willing to approve that change, and then we'll get the ball rolling on commissioning the work and try to get the Truman sketch done and get it ready so the artist could try to get it done by that week of May 8th, the week preceding May 8th. So anyway, that's quite a bit. Sorry to ramble on there, but if there's any questions, I'd love to try to answer them.
Well, first of
Mark,
all,
this is,
thank you
sorry.
for summarizing so well. I appreciate this has been a long time span, and I think that you did a great job of covering all the history and bringing us up to our current place. So thank you for taking your time to do that for us. That's very helpful. Now, I think there's a comment. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, sorry, just a question. And unfortunately, my connection started buffering right when Mark was describing the location. Can you just repeat to me where these would be located?
Yes, the property owners have actually offered these locations. One, the Three Trails Brewery, the site of Three Trails Brewery would be the site for the Trails mural, and then right across the street from that on the side of Ophelia's would be the site for the Truman mural.
Oh, that's great. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there are a couple of pretty nice spots, very visible. There'd be an awful lot of traffic, a lot of people seeing those in those locations.
One more broad comment here. I just would like to also say that this is, I'm very positive about all of this, but I want to make sure that everyone recognizes that this decision, if it's so chosen, is the result of this whole process, not the focused, planned implementation on the square. I think it's a great solution to the place where we are right now, but I just want all people to recognize that this was not our intent from the beginning. And I think, Mark, you made that very clear. I just wanted to make sure that people do recognize this is what if we so vote to do, that we vote to agree that this is the best thing, that this is our best solution for this project and a really great asset for the city, irrelevant of the fact that it was not the original planned intent. So with that, I would like to ask for a motion.
Stacy,
Yes.
I have one comment, and I know before we vote, I'm all for this, and I think it's a brilliant idea. But I don't remember looking at the sketch, and I know this is a tiny little detail about the mural for the trails. Hopefully, it will be that they are actually heading west. I don't remember the actual photograph, or I mean the rendering, but I know it's a silly little detail, but it would really be appropriate for if there are wagons rolling, that they are rolling toward the west, just because I think it gets a good visual and people will then just get the idea that they are going west. I know that's maybe a small detail, but I love the idea.
I think those are important details that are really tip the hat to this commission. So thank you for mentioning that. And if I'm looking at the drawings that Mark forwarded to us this Monday, it appears to me that the trails mural, which would go on the side of the Three Trails Brewery, show the ox and Conestoga, or whatever I'm supposed to call that, sorry, headed west. So I think we're set, but I think it's important that the committee for this refined the approval of the drawings maybe revisit just to make sure that Dan and the drawings that we anticipate are all on the same page, and see if there are any of those issues like you have just brought up, Nancy, to make sure those elements are covered. So very good point.
Yeah, I think I would have to say that on that sketch, the wagons are heading west based on the orientation of the map, because the map, is definitely the way a map would be, usually presented with, north to the top. But on the building, then the wagon would actually be pointing east.
It is,
but
maybe I'm looking at.
I believe, but I don't know that you can't change the map, because you don't want to have the map go reverse of what way maps are read. But I suppose you can have the wagons in any direction you wanted them. But we'll take a look at that. I think we'll have to.
Mark, I couldn't remember the picture off the top of my head. I am not at my personal computer in Independence, and so I just couldn't put the picture in my head all at once. But when you said the map, yeah, that's going to get a little interesting if we could just look at that. It may not be a big deal, but it just occurred to me, if it's on that wall, that it psychologically, I guess, or subliminally, it just kind of pulls it together that where the wagons actually, because then the wagons, if people follow the next stop on the square, there are a lot of wonderful landmarks and other places that bring all of that together. And I was just thinking that, because of when we talk with Living History and we do our first person interpreter tour, we talk about these little landmarks. And once we get that back up again, I think those murals will just be, sprinkles on the wonderful cupcake, if you will. So.
I'm not sure maybe which drawing that is the closer to the final drawing from the ones that you sent us Monday. I was looking at the one marked A1. So do you happen to know, Mark, which one is the closer to the final drawing?
I had it. Hold on, if you don't mind, I'll have to go look at something else. So I'll have to get out of the frame for just a minute.
It was A3 was the one that we were kind of zeroing in on.
Oh,
yeah, it's the first one.
Not to say that we can't revisit it. Yeah, correct. And I think that we liked the map that was in the background. And then if you look at A1, it does not have a map.
Got it. I got it.
Yes. Yeah, A3, that's right, Katie.
Okay. Okay, I was looking at the wrong one then. Okay, gotcha.
Well, we'll just have to, we'll reconvene that committee, that subcommittee, and make sure that, just to finalize the sketch images, and then turn them over to the artist and let him go.
Yes, I think that was an important comment that Nancy made, and it makes total sense now that I'm looking at the right drawing for all those elements. I think it will be an asset for it to go the correct direction. So, Mark, by any chance, do you have a vote formalized?
Like a motion?
Yes.
No, I really didn't, but perhaps it would just be a vote to endorse the.
How about to approve the relocation of the murals formerly of the.
Well, really, it's also to just like as you're going to be reviewing these in the future too, and every one of them, we really should come up with some motion language for you, because yeah, we're going to ask you to recommend that that be approved, or that you approve that. But yes, that would be great. You could.
I need help.
Well, yeah, I guess you'd say a motion to approve, as you said, the relocation of the Truman Trails murals to the square. The locations as indicated.
Okay. That is Maple Street, right?
Yes.
Okay, Maple Street location.
Yeah, Maple and Maine. It's on either. It's basically Maple and Maine on either side of that. But
okay.
Yeah, so Maple Street. We could insert the exact locations for the minutes. I don't have those addresses right to hand.
Well, I would
think it's on Maple between Maine and Lynn.
Yes, and you can just say on either side. I guess that would work. And it might be. It'd be good to also put in there that you're recommending that they be relocated to city facade easements located on the buildings located on either side of Maple between Maine and you could even specify currently that's one's the Three Trails Brewery, the other one's currently Ophelia's, if you wish. Turning into a long motion.
Or it could be stated as private businesses as opposed to city owned.
Well, right. Well,
that way they change hands down the road.
We just want to make sure that it mentions that facade easement, because
okay. Oh, that's true.
Basically has to be on a city facade easement located. And like I said, we've got, if you'd like to say that they're what the buildings are, that's fine. That way we know that you're putting them in right where you want them.
Well, knowing this conversation is being recorded is comforting. So be clear on all of this. Now, to formalize it into a motion, I'm going to ask if we could have a motion to approve the relocation of the Three Trails murals to the city facade easement at Maple and Maine, and ask that you insert in there the current property.
Yes.
The Trails Brewery and Ophelia's.
Okay, relocation. Okay, so motion to approve the relocation of the Truman and Trails murals to city facade easements located on either side of Maple Street between Maine and Lynn on the Independence Square, off the Independence Square.
Sounds like that's good to me. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. This is Nancy.
And a second, please.
Second, this is Tom Meyer.
Thank you. if there's any other discussion right now. If not, I will call an audible vote for approval. So Trent Austin.
Absolutely approved.
And Byron, did you get to join us yet?
Yes, I'm with you now.
Okay.
Just joined.
May I have your, would you like to signify your vote?
Yes,
That's
I vote yes.
Thank you. And Nancy?
I vote yes.
And Katie?
I vote yes as well.
Monica?
Yes.
And Cindy McLean, did you join us yet? Yeah. Thomas?
Yes.
Chelsea?
Definitely yes.
And I'm a yes. Thank you all very much.
Wonderful. Thanks very much. We'll get the paperwork going and get the show on the road.
And I want to make sure that we get a plan to get the review committee together so we can get this, and this needs to happen like chop chop so we can help Dan move along appropriately as quickly as we can. I invite you, Mark, to call on me or offer to have Dan call on me at any time that we need to assist him in any manner so we can keep this moving.
Yes, we're going to have to draft Eric Erfer to be a very big part of that because he's going to be taking over, he's going to oversee the installation and taking over maintenance, obviously, on these on an ongoing basis. And really like to have him participate in that as well. And he was involved in that committee, that subcommittee that was working on that. So I just want to give him a shout out there as well.
Well, thank you all for this. It sounds pretty exciting. So made some lemonade out of the 2020 lemons. So that I like that. If there's nothing else on this agenda item, we'll move to the next, which is something I'm not familiar with. So I think maybe Mark, you're going to lead us on the proposed Truman Statues on the square.
Yes, actually, Byron is the expert on this, and I was asked to put this on the agenda as information for the commission. So Byron, if you wouldn't mind summarizing for the commission about the proposed Truman Statues on the square.
Well, the Independence Square Association has come up with the necessary funding to do what they would like to have 4 different Truman statues around the square, and have asked me to create at least the first one. And I proposed using a statue based upon the picture of Harry Truman in his World War I captain's uniform. When he first arrived in France, he went to a photographer's studio and had his picture taken in his full uniform. And I can attempt to create one that in 3 dimensions that is based on that picture. Don't know what the other 3 might be. Take these one at a time, and from the time I begin until we actually have the thing in place, we're probably looking at a 9-month period. Quite a process that we have to go through with mold makers and enlargers and the foundry. But I'm getting started on it, and hope that we can make it a success.
Wow. I can't imagine it being anything but. So well,
we'll see.
That's awesome. That's terrific.
One thing I was going to mention is that if it is, I know they like to get your input on any artwork, but if it's on the public way right away, then the commission is required to also to sign off on projects. So I know this can come back later because I don't think we even know the location right yet, right, Byron?
That's right. We don't.
So this will be coming back later.
The first step on this process for me is to create a smaller version of it, which is called a maquette. And in this case, it will be a piece in clay that's about 16 inches high. I'll have that done in the next few weeks, hopefully. And we'll need to come back to this Arts Commission for approval. So hopefully at our next meeting, I'll have something to show you for your approval.
Well, I think that would be wonderful, of course. I think that probably part of what else this commission should consider is how and where it's installed. Obviously, the where is still to be determined, but will your maquette have a plan or at least an anticipated height and something about the installation?
Yes, we're anticipating it would be at full height. Harry Truman was 5 feet 8 inches tall, and we'll probably be doing that same thing. We haven't talked about how it's to be mounted. I understand that the Square Association anticipates that these statues are going to be located where the stop signs now are. I'm not just sure how that will play out, and I haven't been familiar with that site planning. Mark may know more about that than I do.
I don't know anything about where they're planning those sites, so that'll be great to find out. Like you said, there's a streetscape plan being developed. If it's approved by the council, the corners will have bump outs. So I don't know, maybe perhaps there's thought to do something in the bump out areas, but I really don't know. Could you tell me just for the minutes how you spell that maquette? What?
Maquette.
Thank you very much.
Well, in the case of this particular project, I feel confident that you're going to present something that will be easy for us to accept and support. It is important that it passes by our way, the Art Commission way, and I look forward to participating in that support and supporting the Square Association in their work and their investment. So I think that while our opinion, the Art Commission opinion or vote or support is important, we want to be sure to also support the Square with their anticipated goals. So I would be anxious to have a conversation with the Square Association if they have any concerns that they think we might want to consider. So that's the only thing I have to say about that. Any other comments? Well, good luck. Look forward to seeing this. Our next agenda item is a city song project. I was hoping that possibly the mayor had spoken to you, Trent. Is that possible?
I have not received anything, but I just attached the full link on this chat via the email you just got. And I'd be totally game for tackling something like this. I already have a ton of ideas in my head. And there's some really cool ideas already up on that link that you shared via email.
I was hoping to pass, I can barely play the radio. So I was hoping to maybe pass this to you to lead us through this, if that's possible. It's exciting. It sounds wonderful. Just to give anybody who doesn't seen that email that I sent out, I spoke with the mayor who had mentioned the project to Arts KC earlier this year. It's a her email says it's a process or a project that was sponsored by the U.S. Conference of Mayors. And so they had several cities that have already submitted different songs, but she just wanted us to take a look at this and see if we could come up with an official city song. And it just might be a fun project to work on, and especially if it could come out in coincide with our Missouri bicentennial. So she was hoping that possibly we could premiere it at Santa Calagon of this year. So if you want to run with this, Trent, I would love to follow.
Okay, I'm happy to do that. And if anybody has any suggestions, just email me or call, and I'll start with some sketches and maybe share with everybody in a week or so. Obviously, those presentations, I didn't click on them because we were in the middle of a meeting, but just scrolling through looked pretty impressive. So there's some things that we would have to sort of figure out, but I got, yeah. Okay.
Yay, I love that. The creative.
That's very accurate. The creative mind is churning, so. Beautiful.
Trent, this is Nancy. I would be happy to just have conversation with you, because also I work with tourism for the Living History program, and I had all of a sudden there were some things that kind of bubbled into my head too. So I would be happy to work with you at any time.
Awesome. Yeah. Perfect.
That is perfect. Beautiful. Okay, we'll keep that on our next agenda, Mark. We want to make sure to move this one along, especially if we could hit Santa Calagon date, that would be awesome too. We'd be rolling. That's great.
No problem.
Okay. Maybe people could hear it when they're on our virtual tour, which is our next agenda item.
It's funny you mentioned that, Stacy. There's something that I will send to you via email that can tie into what that you might be thinking. But we could talk about that off this meeting agenda. So I'll send you an email with some thoughts.
Awesome. I'll look forward to it. Thanks. The next, our final item there on our agenda is our virtual tour update. If you have anything to offer, Mark or Monica or Eric.
Yeah, I thought that Eric could give us a bit of an update on how that's going. And sure. I think Monica got all the information to Eric. But anyway, Eric and Monica, take it away.
Yeah, all the information has been sent to our on-sale rep, and he said he has everything he needs at this point, and he is developing that right now with the target of still getting that ready to launch in April to coincide with the opening of our sites. So I haven't had any conversation with him in the last week, so I think that's good news. And I'll be happy to follow up here late next week and just get another progress update from him.
Well, is there a chance we can get these murals noted on there now?
Maybe. Yeah, well, I can ask that question. Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
I'm doing some, this is Monica. I'm doing some research in regards to, a PR push for once it's published out there. And I will have more information to share about that with the group once I've done a little bit more research.
Awesome. Awesome. Things are happening. This is great. Anything else on our virtual tour right now? If not, I would just like to follow up on anything else we haven't covered already. The floor is open to anyone.
One thing I was going to say is I did notice there was an item there that from the last meeting that Cindy brought up about trying to get some kind of a city branded art logo. I mean, not as independent one, but something under the city branding family. And I just haven't had an opportunity to visit with our city PIO about that. And I don't know if Eric, if you had a chance to visit with Meg about that since the last meeting, and that's still on our to-do list.
You know, I left that. Yeah, me too. I left that off.
So anyway, I don't have anything to report on that, but we haven't forgotten. We'll get with her on that, because that might dovetail in with what Monica was talking about.
And a lot of other things too. So yes, thank you. I just totally didn't do that. So thanks for the reminder. Since I have a minute, and I always have way too much to say, I will tell you that the Mardi Gras was held this last Saturday. It was a virtual event, the first time that the Rotary has done an event like that, and it was that in that manner. And it was, as all have told me, a huge success. I just wanted to point it out because it really does just profoundly support the fact that the community representatives in this city have a very strong opinion about the arts in this city. And they supported it. That event alone raised over $360,000. And this was all small businesses, our community businesses, and it just, they believe in the arts and independence. And I just want everyone on this commission and anyone listening to know that we value the arts the same way, and we appreciate all that they do for us and for this city. And we are committed to doing the best that we can for this city. This commission is committed to doing the best we can for this city. So just wanted to share that. Nancy or Byron, you may have more detail you want to share about that event.
Go ahead.
No, please. That's fine, Byron.
Most projects like this, whether they're volunteer or charitable or business organizations, without the help of one or two persons, it wouldn't happen. This wouldn't have happened except for Monty and Stacy. They're the ones that have really made this thing work. And they've got the ball rolling, and it's been remarkable the way it has developed. I think the latest figures on the amount that was raised in the Mardi Gras was $370,000. We have probably $50,000 of expenses out of that. So we end up, it's estimated to be a net amount which goes to Englewood Arts of $320,000. And as Stacy says, it just shows what the potential is for art throughout our city. The vast majority of these contributions came from independents. And it's a remarkable result, and one for which we can be very grateful. And the Arts Commission continues to play an important role in projects such as this. So thank you, Stacy, and tell your husband we appreciate all he's done. He's done nothing the last year but work on Englewood Arts, I think, and has been a tremendous moving force in this project. Wouldn't have happened without him.
Well, first of all, thank you for that compliment. It certainly took a lot more than just us. So thank you, Byron, very much, very, very much for that generous compliment. And Nancy, you had words you'd like to share?
Actually, Byron said a lot of things that I had intended to say about the money raised. It was a wonderful experience to be able to, for me, to stage manage, if you will, a program that was so enjoyed by so many because they did give generously. And I was basically going to say that, and sort of dovetail in that as well, because we've got an East Arts community now in Inglewood, and then of course our City Theater, which is our community theater. And that's something that I'm in my campaign as president for this term right now, is to let the citizens of Independence know this is their community theater. And there's so many wonderful things happening in Independence right now with all the projects we even talked about today in this meeting. And I'm just grateful to be a part of all of this. And just remind people that eventually we are going to start having live performances in the Sermon Center again. We're working diligently with the city and with the county, with the Parks and Rec staff that's there, to get live shows back up. And we have a wonderful season coming up. And just we are so blessed here in Independence to have a plethora of fantastic arts programs that I'm just proud to be part of.
Wow, it's exciting for this city. It's exciting for people outside of the city that see everything that we are doing and that they can do as well. So thank you all for your input. Good luck with your theater season too. We'll look forward to seeing that schedule. If there are any other comments for today's meeting, please share. And if not, I will ask for a motion to adjourn. Do I hear a motion?
So moved. Sorry, I'm trying to find my mute button. Tom Meyer.
Tom has moved to close the meeting. And a second?
This is Chelsea. I'll second.
Thank you. Thank you all again for your time, and stay warm out there. It's a good thing our virtual tour is going to be up as soon as it's warm. Everybody's back out again. It'll be great. Thank you all.
Thank you for a great meeting, Stacy. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Tom. Hey, Mark, we need to be sure to get our focus committee for those, for Dan, to help out Dan, get that thing rolling. Let me know what I can do for you and make that happen.
Yes, I'll get with Eric, and we'll try to see what people's schedules. I think it was Katie, Monica, Eric, and you were involved in that, I believe, and we
yes,
just probably need to set up some sort of a Teams meeting. Maybe Tamara can help us get something set up. So we'll get on that.
Well, Travis Foley was